Hello, welcome to Alpha Free Test Prep. And today in this video, we are going to talk about stars like this. I know you've all seen this before, you've played Lute before. If you've not played Lute before, you know how this works. So when you throw this into the air, you expect some numbers to occur. Either you want six to occur, or you want six to occur, or you want two, or the number you want, depending on the the, the 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 time that you want it. You want something to occur or if there's in something or not, or who should start last. And so when you throw it into there, you also expect something to occur, and you can't still predict with certainty that what you prefer will occur. So it is about this, hoping and also expecting. So it is about expectation, and so this leads us to our favorite topic, um, called probability. So when we say probability, what we are saying is that probability is the study of an event that may or may not occur. So as I said earlier, when you throw the coin into the air, you thought that when you are expecting either a head or a tail to occur. And so it is a study of an event. So we talk about what events are, and then what events are or event is, and then it is a study which which you can predict with certainty whether something may or may not occur. So you see that we use probability to know the chances that maybe our favorite team will win a match. This is what the betting companies they have been using to predict match, or like to give to know which match which team they should maybe give more odds or something like that too. And so we want to talk about benefits of um, probability. So you said that when you know probability very well, it helps you become informed citizen. So for instance, you live in a community and you are saying that only 10% are able to continue or pursue higher education. And so you know that when you, according to probability, when you select every 100 people, there is chance that only 10 of the 100 people will go to school. So you want to be part of the 10 people. So you want to work hard. So it makes you informed and then help you understand your risk. If you are taking a risk and you know the probability that it may or may not occur. Maybe you've been admitted to, let's say, hospital or something like that, and then maybe there was some operation to be performed, and they are giving you that maybe the 3 out of 10 of uh, patients who maybe do this surgery maybe die or something like that. So you know the probability. So it helps you understand the risk that you are taking. It helps us make better decisions, and it's just true because after knowing you want to make better decisions, it help you increase productivity and help decrease number of accidents. So let's say there's a road and then it kills many people, like maybe every 300 people you choose, if 300 cross the road, the probability that it will kill maybe one person, and you know that maybe if you have a sibling or something like you want to help the person cross the road because you know the statistics and you know that it is likely or it may be something may occur. So you want to do that. So we say that when you want to discuss about probability, then you want to know this formula. So we say that probability of an event occurring equals the number of ways event E can occur over the total number of possible outcomes. So let's say you throw a die into the air. There are only two things that can happen. So a head and a tail. So we say that the two things that can happen, the possible outcomes is only two. The possible outcome is only two because it is either head or a tail. And so if you want head, then it is one out of the two. So let's say also when you throw when you throw a die, we're expecting a number to occur, but there are six numbers that can occur. So two can occur, one can occur, and this kind of thing. So if you want one, then it is one out of the six. So the number of ways the event. So if you want one to occur, then it is one out of the total, which is six. So that's what we mean when we talk about notation, and we are saying that if probability of E is the probability that an event E will happen, then we are saying that the probability that the event will not happen is noted by probability of E bar. Or so what we mean is that let's say when you throw the die and you want maybe six. So to get six, then the probability of getting six is one out of six when you throw it once. So one out of six. So this 1 out of 6 is probability that 6 will occur. But if you want the probability that 6 will not occur, then you want to um, like it is 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 because like it is the total. So the total that will not occur. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When they occur and 6 does not occur, then it's 5, probability 5 over 6. And so what we mean by this is that probability of an event occurring plus probability of the event not occurring, they should all sum up to 1. So we've realized that, let's say probability of E, let me show you here. This is what I mean by what I was saying. So we are saying that probability of E, which is the probability that the event will occur, plus the probability that the event will occur, should always be equal to 1. Probability can never be more than 1. So let's say that probability of, let's say 6 occurring is 1 out of 6, because it is 1 out of 6. You have so many numbers. Probability that E will not occur will be 5 out of 6. So when you add the 2, because the denominators are the same, you add the numerators. So you have 6 over 6, which is equal to 1. So that's how we mean. So when maybe you know the probability that the event will occur, but you are, that's what we talked about. And you want to talk about the definition of terms. So definition of terms. So if you want to deal with probability, then you want to know what we mean by experiment, trial, random sampling, sample space, and event, or equally likely event. So when you talk about experiment, so experiment is an operation whose outcome cannot be predicted with certainty. So when you throw a die into the air, you can't predict with certainty that this will occur. You just want it to occur, but you can't really say that this should surely occur unless you are cheating. So we also talk about trial. So you see that trial is a single performance of maybe an experiment. So when you perform an experiment for only once, then we say you've done a trial. When we talk about random sampling, random sampling is selecting from a population without being biased. So let's say that you are in a class and the teacher comes and said that, okay, I want maybe everybody to start counting maybe 1 up to like the last person. Then you count and you say that all those who said multiples, whose numbers were multiples of 5, they should come out and fetch water for him. He did it randomly because he didn't really select that. He didn't do favoritism by picking like maybe say this girl is a bad student, so let her go and fetch because she will not be doing anything in this class. So it will be very unfair to do that. So the teacher did it randomly by using maybe a rule or something like that. And so we said it was random because he picked them without being biased. We talk about sample space. So sample space is the total number of outcomes. So the thing is like when you throw a die again, I said we'll be talking about die, so we mention it. So when you throw a die into the, you want either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to occur. So those are the sample space. So 6 things to occur, and that's the total, like the sample space. And we talk about an event. Event is when event is like when you toss the die and you see that maybe you pick something with common maybe values or something like that. Let's say you see that, okay, I want only even numbers. So only even numbers, that means you can't add all numbers. So maybe if you want only even numbers to occur, what is the probability of that? Then you can we see even numbers less than 6 or something like that. So those are what we call you grouping things with the same values or the same properties into like one then we say that that's what we call event. So equally likely events are events which has 50% chance of occurring. So let's assume that when you throw the die and say that you want even numbers, then if even numbers will be 50% or 1 out of 2, because like it's that even number or odd number that can occur. And so that's what we mean by that. So we talk about compound event and we are saying that we have multiplication law of probability. So when we talk about compound event, it's about the use of or and and, you understand, or and. And then we say that when you see or, then we're talking about both, and so we use the union. This thing is what I mean. Okay. We use U to represent or, and then we use N, the intersection, to represent intersection. Sorry, intersection should be like this. Intersection to represent end. And so we are saying that we based on the multiplication law of probability, what you're saying is that if A and B are two independent events, we will talk about what independent events are. And so we say then probability of A and B equals probability of A intersection B equals probability of A times probability of B. So let's assume that maybe you have a die and you throw it. I'll be using a die because, so you expect these numbers to occur. So let's say 4 and let's say 5 and say 6. You understand? So we are saying that probability of 3 occurring and probability of 5 occurring will be maybe, let's say, 1 out of 6. That's probability of 3 occurring. So probability of 3 occurring equals 1 out of 6. Then probability of 5 occurring is also 1 out of 6. So probability of 3 and 5 occurring, you have to use this formula, which is 1 times 1 over 6 times 1 over 6 to get to 1 out of 36. So that's what we mean. When they are two independent events, that's what we mean. So like two independent events, like that means the events are not independent. So like when we say the events are not independent, the what means that, let's say when you throw a die into the air and you expect 6 to occur in the first throw, it has no influence on like you throwing the second time and then wanting 6 again to occur or not 6 occurring. So it has no influence. It doesn't have any. The first throw can never in any way influence the second throw. So because of that, we are saying that they are in two independent events. They don't depend on each other. So the second one cannot influence the first one, or the first one cannot when it is thrown fairly. So you see that most probability question will begin with a fair coin or something like that. So that's what we mean by that. So yeah. Okay, we also have let's note that all in probability means addition and means multiplication. So when you see and this is what it means. Okay, so we talk about you are given a question and you want to use knowledge of probability to solve it. So we say that given that probability of x equals 0.35, probability of y equals 0.45, and probability of x intersection y equals 0.25, find probability of x union y. So you want to know this formula when solving this question. So you find probability of this. This is the formula: probability of x union y. The formula is given by probability of x plus probability of y minus probability of x intersection y. This is the formula that you have to use. So when you know this formula, then you know your value for probability of x, your value for probability of y, and value for probability of x and y. Then you can solve it. So we see that the value for probability of x is 0.35. value for probability of y is 0.45. You know the value for probability of x intersection y is 0.25. So you are so when you subtract 0.25 from 0.45, you get 0.2. So 0 plus 0.35 will be 0.55 probability. So I want to end here, and you want to understand what we mean by all this, and then God willing, we'll continue making videos on probability and how to solve complex questions or questions which are more difficult than this. So, but before you want to do that, you want to make sure you understand your terms and formulas and those kind of things. Thank you very much, and I would like everybody to subscribe to the channel and also click on the notification button, and also don't forget to like the video. Thank you.